Have you wondered if design thinking could help your project? Maybe you're wondering what design thinking is. I'm going to cover both of those topics next on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Well, hi, I'm Liz, the Project Skills Mentor, and today we're talking all about design thinking and how it can help your project or your project's product. So let's first talk about what design thinking is. Design thinking was built with a technology background. Technology wasn't always well adopted by users because it didn't fit their needs. So, early in the 1990s, design thinking became very popular as a way of defining problem solving and innovation fit for users around technology solutions. Today, it's gone much further. This human-centric approach works for almost anything you're trying to problem solve or innovate. So how does that work? Project thinking is normally a process run in the form of a working group, a session, or a workshop. You want as diverse a crowd as you can get in those meetings, maybe 20 people max, maybe only 10, but each of these should understand the business or functionality or process or technology, because project thinking is about bringing together the trifecta of viability, feasibility, and sustainability. So let me take you through the 6 steps I've used on my projects, and I'm going to use Post-it notes to do that. So the first thing you can do with design thinking is get to know your user. The more you know about who your user is, their background, you want to feel their pain, you want to understand their frustrations and their problems. Really understanding them might also include a day in the life of how things work today and what's broken. It can also create a visualization of a day in the life in the future, something aspirational. Once you deeply understand your user, you're ready to move on to the next step, naming the problem. Sometimes that's actually the hardest thing, because so often people name the wrong problem, so the solution didn't work because the problem wasn't well stated. An important component to stating the problem is understanding symptoms versus problems, wants versus needs, outcomes of one role versus outcomes for another role. So really defining that problem, and maybe there's more than one, has a lot to do with the ability of the team to go to the next step. The next step is also one that is maybe uncomfortable, but in workshop settings, it's the facilitator or project manager's job to make sure they feel comfortable thinking inside, outside, and around the box. You want every idea about that persona and that problem statement, and also challenge yourself to think of ideas that you think might not be realistic. Embrace, don't judge at this point. Ideation is about finding the aha moments in ideas that either don't normally happen in that situation or ideas that haven't been proven and tested. Those are often the best ideas, and real innovation comes from embracing every idea. Next, you're going to want to mind map. Once you've done that, have the group step back, even maybe take a break. Have someone be the advocate for each of these ideas and share them. Once you have the best idea, the next thing you're going to want to do is work on 1 or 2 of them and come up with prototypes. The best way to do this is before your team leaves the working session to actually document a paper version of your prototype, whether it's an idea for a product or a solution for a problem. Document it. Create visuals for it. This is going to be important later. And if your prototype leads to points you're making, such as, we need these inputs, this data must be available, or we need these outputs, these outcomes need to link to the next step, document those too. In fact, you might even want to make a process map so that you know where your prototype fits in. What's next? Testing. I've heard it said, you should think of your prototype like it's going to work, but test it like it won't. Look for the unintended outcomes, look for the problems that might be an issue. The cheapest way to manage a design issue is in the paper phase, not in the build phase. So what's next? Iteration, and that is the 6th step. When you iterate, you're essentially going back through the entire flow and testing. Did I understand my person right? Do I have the right question? Are my ideas functioning? You might even go back to some of the ideas and add them to your prototype. Next, go back and refine your prototype based on that, and refine the process and testing. This iteration process actually helps make sure your ideas are fresh and your ideas work for the problem or innovation you're trying to create. So that's design thinking in a nutshell. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a like. And I hope to see you next week where I'll talk about design thinking for projects, making a workshop. Bye-bye.